Hey everyone, my name is Brennan. I'm one of the co-founders at WholeCell, and today I'm talking about our B2B Customer Portal. We're giving a sneak preview of this. We're going to open it up in beta really soon. And so if you'd like to beta test the B2B Customer Portal, click on that link at the bottom left of the webinar display, and it'll take you to a Google form. You can fill out a couple questions and beta test it for us. But today in the webinar, I'll be going over how the B2B Customer Portal works, what its intended use cases are, some of the frequently asked questions we get about it when people have asked about it, about us building it, and what you'll be testing, basically where it's at in its development. So with that, I'll just get started. If you want to ask any questions, please use the chat, the chat for those questions. As I go through the presentation, I'll read out questions and answer them as they come in. So nice to see everybody. Thanks for joining today. So for anyone that's on the call that's totally unfamiliar with WholeCell, WholeCell is a serialized inventory system designed specifically for folks that are buying and selling mostly used phones. So we work with a lot of customers that are selling used phones, used tablets, and other mobile devices. And WholeCell was built from the ground up to support that exact use case. So where other inventory systems, they're a little bit more, maybe they've added serialization on as a bolt-on feature, so you can serialize your products, but you still have to use standard SKUs and stuff like that, and that's the only way you can describe a product. WholeCell is really designed for folks that are buying and selling IMEI based inventory or serial number based inventory. Specifically, we have the product attributes for phones, tablets, wearable devices, etc. We've got the ability to run IMEI audits, IMEI scanning in and out with your inventory, and fulfilling specific IMEIs to orders. So you know which order went out with which device. If you're trying to get organized and you're moving from either Google Sheets or another traditional inventory system, that's what WholeCell does for you, is build this organization around your IMEI-based inventory business. So that's WholeCell. We've got a handful of e-commerce integrations. Since I'm talking about our B2B customer portal today, I'm not going to go through all of these one by one, but these are the different integrations that we have there on the left. We've got a few in the graphic on the right that are coming soon. We work very hard on these, and the beauty of these e-commerce integrations is they manage your quantity of listings. So you've got stock listings on various e-commerce channels where you're selling your inventory. You add inventory to WholeCell, you manage it in WholeCell, you change the status as it moves through your warehouse and pipeline, and WholeCell tells these channels what quantities of inventory you have, and sets that so you don't have to have someone manually updating them. And then when you sell, when customers come in and buy your inventory on those channels, those orders come into WholeCell, and you can fulfill them, like I mentioned earlier, with a specific IMEI in WholeCell. So WholeCell is literally the processing center for your device resale business. And if you're selling on e-commerce, great. We've got a handful of e-commerce integrations and more coming soon. If you're selling wholesale, great as well. WholeCell was originally built around wholesale customers. So, we see a lot of customers that have a mix of these two sales models, where they're selling some B2B, some e-commerce. And today we're talking about the B2B customer portal, which we think is going to be really exciting for anyone that has any B2B customers to be able to see their advertised stock lists and see their history of orders and stuff like that. So those are our e-commerce integrations. We've got a couple of business integrations that connect to tools that we know folks are using in the device resale industry. So we've got a connection with Phonecheck. If you're using Phonecheck, they have a diagnostic app that allows you to plug in your iPhones and Android devices into a computer. That loads an app on the device, and you can walk through testing procedures so that all of your devices are tested in the same standard way. And so Phonecheck provides this great software. They've been around for longer than us, and they've got a great community in the industry. And we've got a Phonecheck integration that allows you to bring all of that device test data and the device model data that Phonecheck pulls in automatically, and some that you do manually by these tests. And you can pull that data from Phonecheck into WholeCell. So where Phonecheck is your diagnostic tool for testing the devices, WholeCell is where all the inventory lives. You can pull all that information into WholeCell right from the user interface. from Phonecheck. We also have a QuickBooks integration for syncing your invoices and your purchase orders with QuickBooks, so you don't have to double create them. And then we have a Shipstation integration for managing your shipments. So all of your orders that come through Wholesale can be moved over to Shipstation. You can create shipping labels there, and the shipping label and tracking information comes back into Wholesale. And then Wholesale will send it up to the e-commerce channel if you're using one of our e-commerce integrations. So those are our business integrations. But today I'm jumping right into it. We're talking about the B2B Customer Portal. And we've been asked about creating a B2B customer portal for a while. We're also still working on a Shopify integration, which there's a tiny bit of overlap, but I just want to kind of from the get-go describe that our goal, we're calling it the B2B customer portal for a reason. We're not trying to recreate a retail customer portal for your retail consumers or your retail customers. We're trying to create a B2B customer portal for the folks that are buying from you in bulk. And we've seen that this can be difficult to set up with other platforms like Shopify, where they're building an online store for you. They're helping you build an online store where items are going to be sold one or two at a time, and customers, the intended customer is a consumer, and so where we see a gap and an opportunity for Wholesale to contribute is by creating a B2B customer portal for the folks that you're selling to in bulk to be able to see your current for sale inventory. So for you to be able to kind of segment out your inventory of what you want to show your B2B customers of what's for sale, for them to be able to create a draft order and check out so that if they want to order, they can kind of describe their intent. If they want to order 100 of one model and you want that 100 to immediately lower your inventory quantities on all of your e-commerce channels, you can do that. So that ability is, we've been asked a lot about getting that ability into Wholesale, and so this solves that problem for us. And then simply you've got B2B customers. If you've got them there, the unique thing about them is they're purchasing continually from you, as opposed to more customer. The B2B customers are buying from you on a continual basis. So you want to be able to show them their order history, their IMEI history of purchased devices from you, their RMA history of returns that they've sent. So that is what we're trying to do with the B2B customer portal. We've gotten a handful of questions. I did a demo of kind of another sneak preview of the portal before, and we got these questions, and I wanted to share them as well. Will it cost extra? No, we don't have any plans immediately to charge for the B2B customer portal. I can't say that we will never introduce some kind of pricing model in the future, but initially at its outset, we are not planning to charge for this. You will get access to the B2B customer portal and be able to run your own portal from your existing Wholesale subscription. So that's whether you're a subscriber on the startup $49 a month plan or all the way on the unlimited plan, you can access the B2B customer portal and set it up for your customers, which we think is a nice experience. Can customers submit an offer price? So we do not have this in version 1 of the B2B customer portal. We just have you able to put in a list price for these items. So you're putting in your B2B Wholesale list price, basically, and then that is what the inventory is advertised at to your customers. And so we'd like to do that in the future. There's no question that the ability to share offers back and forth is a really critical and valuable feature, but it is not in our version 1. We don't have that built into version 1. So in version 1, customers can add items to a cart and they can check out, but that checkout basically is creating a draft order in Wholesale for you to approve or deny, work with them on the prices, etc. So that's going to be the simplicity of version 1. We want to introduce it in a simple form. Next question is, will it show clients their previous orders in my account? Short answer to that is yes. So if you've got an existing customer that already has a bunch of orders from you, they've got some RMAs, they have a ton of item history, obviously, if they've been buying devices from you over time, yes, setting up the customer portal will, any of the previous history for that organization will show up immediately. So it's kind of just an immediate added benefit to them. Once you invite them to their account and allow them to set their password and log in, they'll see all of that previous data, which can be pretty neat. And then what pricing is displayed to customers? So in Wholesale, we have a pricing page that allows you to set what we call the list price. And that is the price that we'll be using here. So that list price is kind of intended to be a B2B price for folks that are using our e-commerce integrations. That pricing doesn't sync with your e-commerce listings. That pricing is specific to Wholesale. And so that's the price that it will be showing in the B2B customer portal. V1 and probably moving forward as well. So that is the FAQ section of the B2B Customer Portal. And then I'm going to hop right into my demo of the customer portal here. So, hey, Felice, nice to see you. Thanks for joining. So I'm just going to go through our settings page. When we add you to the beta program, you will have access to the settings page. To be clear, you do not have access to it now. No one in Wholesale has access to this page yet. But as I mentioned, I'll be inviting folks today to set up their B2B portal and for us to start getting feedback as you test the portal. So sign up at that link at the bottom left of the webinar if you'd like to test it. On this settings page, we've got a bunch of basics that I'll go through. You get the URL to access your customer portal. So here in this account, we've got it at acme.wholesale.io/customer portal. So that's the URL you'll be sharing with your customers. And they'll be able to access kind of your company name.wholesale.io/customer portal. So you have just a link to it there. You just have a button to enable the customer portal there. So if you turn that off, I don't believe the for sale page will show and they might not have access to the customer portal. These settings that you're seeing here are pretty similar to our e-commerce integrations. So you can choose what inventory statuses contribute to the inventory that's displayed on the for sale page of the customer portal. So I can choose, you could create a new status and have a specific, basically a bucket of inventory that shows on the customer portal. You could use a combination of existing statuses if you want to show various inventory. But like I said, this allows you to segment your inventory if you want to. So if you only want to show certain stock to your B2B buyers, you can do that. And if you want to keep it completely separate from your e-commerce stock, you can do that. If you want to keep it blended with your e-commerce stock, if you want, like I was mentioning earlier, if you have 200 of one product, say you have 200 of one device, and you have it listed on eBay, Backmarket, Swappa, and your B2B customer portal, this will finally give your customers a way to say, I want to buy 100 of those. And then when they click and create the checkout and create the order, that order, if it's in a status that's configured to set against your e-commerce quantities in a warehouse and so forth, it will do that. And so when they create that order, doesn't necessarily mean the order is guaranteed yet. You still need to go through and verify it as a draft order, but it's going to pull down your quantities on your e-commerce listing. So the ability to do that, as we know, is very powerful and desired by a lot of folks in our customer base. So that's why we're building it. So that's how you choose from the inventory status. You also have an option to select which warehouse the inventory is scoped to. So you can choose which status it's coming from and which warehouse Wholesale is looking in for that inventory that's listed. You get to choose the order status that these draft orders come in. So like I mentioned, folks on the customer portal can add items to their cart. They can check out, put in their address, put in what payment method they want to use. And then that'll create an order in your Wholesale account. And you get to choose what status you want. Choose whatever you want and whatever works for your workflow. But we probably recommend using some kind of draft or special status so that it's easy for you to go in and see, okay, I've got 3 orders that have come in from my customer portal that I need to review. I need to connect with the customer, make sure that this is what they want, and then we'll finalize it and invoice them or collect payment however we want. You can choose which channel you want the orders to come from, and this is kind of the same thing. You could choose any of the existing channels, but I would also recommend probably going in and creating a new channel for the B2B customer portal or whatever you want to call it, so that okay, these orders are coming through this channel. You can see the metrics of the financials of that channel in your analytics and so forth. You have the ability to upload a logo, which is going to be the first time we're doing that in Wholesale, which we're very excited to introduce, so that it's a branded B2B customer portal. Aside from Wholesale being part of the URL structure, folks are not going to be able to tell that it's a Wholesale page that they're coming to. We do have powered by Wholesale links on the page, but it's going to be your logo and your name front and center. So this is your customer portal that you're inviting customers to. David says, nice. Yeah, thanks, David. We're excited about introducing this ability to brand things more. So we do have the ability to auto invoice, which you'll want to play with if that's something that you're interested in or not. So what that will do is, if a customer checks out on the portal, adds some items to their cart, they go through the checkout process, this would automatically send them the invoice. And if you set up the portal where all the items that are listed have a list price, and it's a list price you're confident in, and your customers are buying, they know they're buying at that list price, then you can go ahead and do this, and it will auto send them an invoice when they check out, and it will send them the invoice with the payment method that you choose. So you can offer multiple payment methods here. If you're not familiar with payment methods in wholesale, they're very simple. We don't have integrations with like any payment providers, but what these do is they allow you to provide instructions to your customer. So you could have a PayPal method that has a 3% fee. So in our payment methods, you can choose what fee to apply, and it'll automatically apply that to the invoice. So you could give multiple options here for your customers. When they check out, they'll see what payment methods are available. They could pay via PayPal, wire transfer, behalf, if that's still one of them. Whatever payment gateways you're allowing your customers to use, you can list them out with the specific instructions. Maybe you've got a gateway or a link that you want to send them to. You can put that in your instructions when you set up the payment methods. And then you can offer those to these customers that are checking out. When they check out, they'll choose which payment method they want to use, and then you'll be able to see that once the order is created. So those are your options for setting up your portal. Again, if you guys have any questions, feel free to put them in the chat. I'm happy to answer them, but hopefully that was straightforward. So I've set up my customer portal here. I could go to this URL and see what it looks like, but the problem is all customers have to sign in to get to the B2B customer portal. So we've built a system for inviting your customers, because you don't want necessarily all your customers to just be able to log in. You probably want to introduce this on a case-by-case basis with the customers that you think are best fit for this. So I'm going to take you to an invite page, and this is a page where I've tested out inviting myself to my customer portal. But basically, when this beta is enabled for you, now you'll be able to see in your settings page, you'll see this customer portal link down at the bottom, and in your organizations page, so this organizations page or tab on the side of wholesale sidebar, when you come to it, you see all of your organizations, your customers, and your vendors. And so presumably you go to a customer, and now you'll have an option at the bottom of this sidebar of customer portal accounts. So you'll be able to see you can add various users from an organization. So, if somebody's got you're selling to a big wholesale group, they've got 4 purchasers, you can add all 4 purchasers to that same organization. They'll see the organization's history of orders and RMAs and so forth, but they'll all have their own separate logins to the customer portal, which is pretty neat. And then you have the ability to, when you add them, you just put in their name and their email. This sends them. So wholesale, we've built all the invitation framework on the back end to send them an invite. They accept the invite. They put in their password, just like when you sign up for any software product online. So they'll set their password, and then they'll be able to log into your customer portal. And now we'll hop over to the real thing. So I've got my Acme customer portal here. I just signed out of it. And this is what it looks like, folks. So when you get access to the beta, this is what you'll see. You'll see the customer portal here. It'll say whatever the name of your business that's set up in wholesale is at the top. You can upload your logo. That'll appear up at the top left. If you don't upload a logo, it'll also just say your business name here. But then your customers who have set up a password, they'll be able to log into the portal here. I've got my test account. So we're going to sign in. When we sign in, it immediately takes me to my item history, so I can see all of the items that I've purchased. In this demo account, I don't think many of my items have an ESN, but this allows your customer to see what ESNs they've purchased from you, and at what price, on what date, what grade they were supposed to be in, et cetera. So just increasing transparency, which presumably you want to do. They can see what order it's from. So we've got an item history. We have an order history where we can see the order ID, the date that the order was placed, and the total amount. We can click on that and see a little bit more information about the order, what items were purchased, whether there was any fees in there. And granted, we understand this is a very, very simple view. We'd like to make it better and better over time based on our customers' feedback. But our goal with this initial release is just to get an understanding of how our customers want to use the customer portal, what they love, what they don't like so much. So you'll see a very simple this is a very simple incarnation of the portal. We can look at RMAs. So I've got one RMA in my history here. With this, as this customer, I have one RMA with Acme Wireless. And then last but not least, our for sale page. So our for sale page has the scope of all these items that are listed. And what's even kind of neat is it's saving in my browser history that I had added 5 of these items to my cart. So what you can see is we've got the product listed, the grade, any damage conditions that you've applied to the devices, the quantity that are available, and then that list price that I mentioned. So I'd gone through and set a list price for each of these items. I can add items to my cart. I can view my cart and update it, add different items to it. Let's add a few here. we can add 2 of these. Click add to cart, and that'll update my cart. So now I've got quantity 2, quantity 5. I can go through the checkout process, and I can, like I was mentioning, I can select a payment method. As you guys saw in my settings, I only had PayPal set up as a payment method, but I have this order summary here. So what you're starting to see is, you can see that we've tried to make this a nice looking e-commerce checkout, but targeted towards folks that are buying B2B. So they're not seeing iPhone 6 listed as just that item with the picture and intended for buying one. We really have this listed out as a quantity interface, and I think you guys, as you get into the beta, you'll find there are a few bugs here. Our search functions may not work perfectly yet, and so I'm not gonna demo those just yet. But we've tried to give the very, very basic version, and our whole goal with the beta testing is to create a list of all of the issues that people find and all the things that need to be fixed. And over time, we'll go through and fix those. So yeah, you can check out. This page looks great on mobile. I'm not going to resize my page to show you, because that's caused some issues with the webinar recording in the past. But that's it in its initial incarnation. David says, will there be an autofill option on the shipping section so that the customer can save time not having to fill it out? The short answer is not in this beta version, David, not in version 1, because then we will need to add in their ability to have all of their addresses available and to choose which ones from. But I think that makes complete sense. So that's, I think, a great piece of feedback, is that they should be able to have their stored addresses here. So one of the first things that you'll submit to us is that little bit of feedback. I've got an article that I'll share with you if you're participating in the beta that describes how we want to get feedback, how you want to go through and test this and figure out how it works and so forth. So that's a great question. In the initial version, the answer is no. So they'll need to put in their information manually as they create an order, and it will not save to the next time that they create an order. So we know that's it's Shopify wasn't built in a day, and neither will our B2B customer portal, but over time we'll kind of make it better and better so that it has more of those features that you expect from an e-commerce experience. So yeah, that's my whole overview of the B2B customer portal, guys. It's pretty basic again in its incarnation, but our goal is that it's simple and works well for your B2B customers that want to come in, see the inventory that you have available and are listing available for sale, be able to check out and create a draft order, to be able to see their order history, their item history, and their RMA history, and that's the core of it. So I will pop back over to my slides, and David said it's looking good so far. Thanks, David. I appreciate it. Yeah, so if anybody's got any questions, feel free to put them in the chat now. If we don't see anything, I'll let everybody get off to their weekend. But we've got that link at the bottom left of the webinar that you should see that says beta test the B2B customer portal. Click on that link. It'll take you to our Google form, so you can answer a few questions and then say that you want to participate in the beta. I'll get in touch with you a little bit later today, and we'll sign you up for the B2B customer portal. Be aware, this is we're starting to work more with customers in this beta this beta time frame of features. So in the past, we've tried to release features and we've done all the testing and made sure that they're totally ready. Now we're kind of opening it up a little bit more to allow customers to have more feedback and help us get these features polished and ready for prime time, for full release, because we know folks really want to test them and try them out, and we're appreciative of all the feedback and advice you guys can give us. So we're opening it up for that, and we're going to try it. We're going to try out this beta experience, and so I'm going to be guiding folks through the beta program. We'll enable the feature in your account, and we'll kind of as part of doing that, we really want to get your feedback on what's working, what's not. We also expect your patience on some features are not going to be working perfectly, and we know that. That's why it's in beta and not a full release. But you'll have access to it a little bit earlier than anybody else that just goes and signs up for WholeCell today. So yeah, and Felice says, looks great. Thanks, Felice. Appreciate it. Nick says, sorry if you already addressed this, but would it be possible to use a domain that is not connected to WholeCell? The short answer on this is we're not building in like full-fledged custom domain support from the get-go, but there are a couple of options there. I think that you could You may be able to point a custom domain at this page, but I don't. You wouldn't want to do it as a forward. So I don't know if the URL structure would end up working that way. I think that that's a potential feature for the future, Nick. In short form, that's I think that that's a possibility. I also think one of the things we've seen is we've had inventory reports for a long time that are at a wholesale domain that customers that wholesale customers will point their customers towards. And the way that we've seen them do it most effectively is with a sign-in button or a stock list button. And so they've got their website, they've got a stock list button, or even in the nav on their website, the header and in the navigation, they put that button there, and it takes you to a slightly different looking page, obviously at a wholesale.io domain, but it's got your branding on it in this case. So it'll look as good as it can, and look like a good e-commerce site. So excuse me, short answer is no. We don't have custom domains set up at the moment. That kind of stuff is more complicated, and I think we'll get into it once we see how folks are using the B2B Customer Portal. If we see a lot of activity and folks are really enjoying it and liking it, and they all want to be able to set a custom domain, then we'll research what it takes to make that possible. But you have to do it's a more advanced user setup. You got to do DNS routing and stuff like that. And so for this initial release, no, you will just have your the name of your business.wholesale.io will be how it's set up. Yeah, sure thing. My pleasure. Anybody else have any other questions for us today? Nothing coming in. Well, everyone, thank you so much. Yeah, we really appreciate your business. I certainly don't take that for granted. We appreciate working with you. Thank you, Mike, for sharing that link to our help center for anybody looking for our help articles. By the way, Mike is going through constantly right now and adding videos to our help articles to make them more and more interactive, or maybe not interactive, but more intuitive to follow along and see how you do certain things in wholesale. So if you're looking for a help guide on any of wholesale's functions, Mike's been making those more and more capable and helpful over time. So we really appreciate that. Thanks, Mike. Thank you, everybody. If you signed into this that Google form, I'll be in touch with you a little bit later today. We'll get you set up on the beta, and we'll get things running. So thanks all for your time, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Take care.